The Dousheng fire slave quietly stood beside Xiao Yin with a numb and hollow face. Only that terrifying energy fluctuation that was vaguely being emitted from its body allowed one to feel just how powerful it was. However, this symbol can only temporarily control the fire slave. Once the purifying demonic lotus flame splits its attention, the heavenly flame will definitely use the fire bead to break the symbol seal and once again obtain control of the fire slave. Xiao Yan's eyes scanned the fire slave beside him. A slight flicker flashed within them. In order to completely control the fire slave, he needed to finish off that fire bead within its mind, because that fire bead was the only way the purifying demonic lotus flame could control them. However, the purifying demonic lotus flame probably can't split its attention. Finishing off that fire bead was not something Xiao Yin would be able to do within a short period of time. Hence, he did not entertain this thought for long. He swept his eyes across the other battles. The fire slaves battling Sun Er and the first elder had been suppressed to the point that they were forced to retreat. The dense white flame on their bodies had become dimmer. From the looks of it, it was only a matter of time before they obtained victory. Xiao Yin sighed in relief after verifying that Sun Er and the first elder weren't experiencing any problems. He was just about to turn away when an extremely overbearing energy fluctuation was suddenly emitted from a short distance away. The heavenly flame within Xiao Yan's body trembled slightly because of this fluctuation. The movement of the heavenly flame within his body caused Xiao Yin to lift his eyebrows. His eyes followed the direction the fluctuation had originated from. In that direction, one could see a fire floating in the sky. A pair of 1,000-foot-large flame wings extended from the backside of the fire. Those flame wings were flapped and flames spread in all directions like a storm. These flames filled with an overbearing feeling. Is this the 8 Wasteland Destruction Flame? Envy involuntarily flashed across Xiao Yan's eyes as he looked at the pale black flame behind Huaxian. The 8 Wasteland Destruction Flame was an overbearing flame. It was ranked 6th on the Heavenly Flame ranking. There was no need to detail its great strength, since just this ranking alone explained everything. Hua Xin's strength might be inferior to his opponent's might, but with the help of the 8 Wasteland Destruction Flame, the Fire Slave, which had reached the advanced first star of the Dousheng class, was being beaten until it was unable to retaliate. If the demonic flame wasn't blocking most of the invasion of the Wasteland Destruction Flame, it would have been quickly defeated. Being born in such a big clan is indeed a blessing. At the very least, their resources are not something that an ordinary person can compare with. Xiao Yin softly sighed. Honestly speaking, even he desired a heavenly flame like the 8 Wasteland Destruction Flame. He had roamed the continent in order to find heavenly flames, but the highest-ranked heavenly flame he found was the 9th-ranked, the 3,000 Burning Flames. This was lacking compared to the 8 Wasteland Destruction Flame. Bang! A low and deep mutter was emitted from another direction, while Xiao Yin was quietly sighing within his heart. His eyes followed the sound before slightly narrowing. Hun Feng and an advanced 2-star Dousheng were fighting there. Both parties boasted similar strength, but that fight was not a stalemate. Instead, it was unusually swift and furious. Xiao Yin merely saw Hun Feng gently land a palm on the fire slave's body, after which the demonic flame on the surface of fire slave's body turned into a line of fire that swiftly rushed into Hun Feng's palm. It looked as though the demonic flame was being devoured. He actually dares to swallow the demonic flame? Even Xiao Yan's expression involuntarily changed after seeing this scene. Although these demonic flames did not possess the will of the actual purifying demonic lotus flame, they still possessed an exterminating force. Even he did not dare to simply swallow these flames, but this Hun Feng actually dared to devour them. Adds by Pub Future. Given Hun Feng's character, this was definitely not a reckless act. By putting it this way, Hun Feng was confident he could swallow these demonic flames. Even Xiao Yin, who had practiced the flame mantra, did not possess such an ability. Hun Feng's scarlet tongue licked his lips after devouring the fire slave's demonic flame. He appeared as though he had not enjoyed it enough, but he seemed to have sensed Xiao Yan's eyes. He turned his head and stared at Xiao Yan. After seeing Xiao Yan's expression, his lips was involuntarily lifted into a dense smile. This fellow is indeed a little mysterious. Xiao Yan's expression gradually returned to its usual calm. His heart reinforced the caution he felt for Hun Feng. The feeling that Hun Feng gave him was the most dangerous among all the members of the younger generation. Hiss! A sudden and extremely frightening energy fluctuation exploded from that huge battle some distance away, while a caution soared within Xiao Yan's heart. A sharp howl was suddenly emitted from the mouth of someone. This howl clearly originated from the purifying demonic lotus flame, but there seemed to be an additional fury and wounded feeling in his current voice. It seemed that the combined attack from 7 4-star Doushangs caused someone as powerful as him to feel quite terrible. Fighting with large numbers ultimately possessed its strength, especially when this sea of people was made up of elite Duoshangs. Bang! Xiao Yan's eyes landed on the enormous battleground. He was just about to speak when his expression suddenly changed. His head suddenly swung to a fire slave a short distance away. He saw a shocking light suddenly shoot out of the eyes of the fire slaves. An unusually wild and violent energy rippled with lightning-like speed. Quick, withdraw. It is about to self-destruct. Xiao Yin was quiet for an instant after seeing this light. He hurriedly cried out to Sun Er. Yao Lao's group revealed shocked faces upon hearing Xiao Yan's cry. A self-destructing elite Doushang was not a simple matter. Such a strength possessed the ability to destroy the world. Bang! The fire slave's body swelled at a speed visible to the naked eye, while Yao Lao's group hurriedly pulled back. After which, the body exploded apart in front of many shocked pairs of eyes. An indescribably frightening energy storm swept across the sky with a shocking speed. 100,000-foot-large crack forcefully tore through the air, down to the magma sea region tens of thousands of feet below. It reached the deepest region of the magma. Grug. Some of the unlucky individuals, who were slow to run, ended up spitting out fresh blood after the violent energy gently swept through their bodies. A mouthful of fresh blood was spat out. Every inch of the meridians in their bodies was shattered as their flesh broke apart. The fire slave had self-destructed and nearly caused everyone, other than those from the big battleground, to explosively pull back. After the first fire slave self-destructed, the remaining individual's eyes, other than the fire slave being controlled by Xiao Yin, emitted an intense light pillar at this moment. After which, their faces were completely dull as they chased Xiao Yin and the rest who had begun to flee. Even experts like the deputy hall chief began to swiftly withdraw when they saw these fire slaves fearlessly charge over. Even someone as powerful as them could only temporarily hide when an elite Doushang self-destructed. Bang, bang, bang. Although Xiao Yan's group's reactions were quick and were able to escape a calamity, not everyone was this lucky. A couple of fire slaves had charged in front of some experts just prior to exploding. After which, they exploded in front of these experts' stunned eyes. A destructive energy shattered those unlucky people into nothing. After a couple of earth-shaking explosions echoed across this realm, over half of the number of experts who had entered the demonic flame realm were lost. Some of those who had luckily survived revealed stunned eyes as they looked at the 100,000-foot-large magma hole. They did not expect these fire slaves to actually self-destruct. 6 out of 9 fire slaves had successfully self-destructed. The remaining 3 were unlucky enough to be caught within the terrifying explosions from the other self-destructing fire slaves. Hence, before they could self-destruct, they were shattered into nothing by wild and violent energy. The eyes of Xiao Yan's group were dull as they stared at the completely empty and cloudless sky. They immediately became quiet. These self-destructing fire slaves had nearly caused them to die. This purifying demonic lotus flame is really ruthless. It has simply allowed its Dosheng fire slaves to self-destruct. This grand manner is something that even the Hun clan and the Gu clan cannot do. Xiao Yin inhaled a deep breath of air and spoke with some lingering fear in his heart. Sun Er and the others nodded in agreement by the side. All elite Doshengs were precious. Who would allow them to self-destruct? Everyone, lend me your strength. Now is the best moment to seal the demonic flame. A loud cry suddenly reverberated from the enormous battle in the distance, while Xiao Yan's group was sighing in relief from having escaped a calamity. The chief of the Hall of Souls charged toward the sky with a miserable appearance before he slammed against empty air. 100,000-foot-large black formation appeared in the sky. The middle of the large formation locked onto the purifying demonic lotus flame below. It is actually the Tianlu Sealing Demon Formation. Sun Er immediately let out an exclamation upon seeing the enormous black formation in the sky. From her expression, it was obvious that this formation was quite famous. All right. It was clear that even Gu Nanhai and the rest recognized this large formation, but they could not worry much at this critical moment. They rapidly considered the situation before furiously crying out. 6 vast and mighty energy pillars that caused one to tremble surged out from all directions. They charged into the large formation in the sky. Swoosh! The somewhat pale-looking chief of the Hall of Souls hurriedly changed his hand seal after being supported by such a vast and mighty energy. The large formation shook. A completely black pillar that was covered in mysterious symbols suddenly erupted from the middle of the formation. It smashed into the purifying demonic lotus flame below with lightning-like speed. Tianlu Refining Flame. Essence Transformation. A heated expression surfaced on the face of the chief of the Hall of Souls in the sky. His eyes greedily looked at the purifying demonic lotus flame below, which had been struck. The purifying demonic lotus flame would have difficulty escaping. Swoosh! An enormous black light pillar shot down from the middle of the large formation. Its speed was frightening, and with a flash, it traveled across space itself. Even the magma sea region below had been forcefully split, creating a couple 1,000-foot-large magma pit. The body of the purifying demonic lotus flame and the black light pillar were caught in a stalemate. The heavenly flame sensed an extremely mysterious decomposition force erupting from the light pillar. The flame on the surface of his body became a little dimmer while facing this strength. A miserable cry that contained a great fury echoed across the sky. Bang, bang, bang. Faced with the strange energy within the black light pillar, even the heart of the purifying demonic lotus flame sensed a hint of danger. Its body abruptly swelled and transformed into a fire body that was 10,000 feet in size. The temperature of the surroundings rose. The magma below bubbled as numerous magma pillars continued to erupt. The rumbling sounds that were emitted seemed to herald the end of the world. The black light pillar formed circular ripples as this purifying demonic lotus flame put up a resistance. It even became slightly distorted. Everyone, pour your strength into the formation. Otherwise, all of us will die if it manages to break the seal. The hall chief roared out loud. His expression changed upon seeing this distortion. The hand seal of the chief of the Hall of Souls changed after this roar sounded. He maneuvered the vast and mighty Do Chi within his body to pour into the formation. The remaining individuals hesitated upon feeling his Do Chi. They clenched their teeth and quickly poured all the Do Chi within their bodies into the large formation. The formation quickly widened upon receiving the aid of so much Do Chi. The dark black light pillar became purer. The strange energy within it also became more terrifying. Trying to seal me? Who do you think you are? A furious roar reverberated from that enormous flame as it sensed the growing strength around it. The flame within the light pillar suddenly exploded without any warning. Wave after wave of annihilation forces ruthlessly smashed into the dark black light pillar. Grug. The crazy retaliation of the purifying demonic lotus flame caused the chief of the Hall of Souls group to turn pale. A mouthful of fresh blood shot out of their bodies. Their expressions became slightly weary at this moment. This battle with the purifying demonic lotus flame had been overly hot and intense. Even they were unable to continue on. Everyone, fight it out with it. The chief of the Hall of Souls wiped the trace of blood off the corner of his mouth. A ferocious expression surged onto his originally ordinary face. He bit the tip of his tongue. A mouthful of essence blood shot out and entered the light pillar. Grug. The expressions of the others changed upon seeing that the chief of the Hall of Souls was willing to lose his essence blood. Finally, they violently clenched their teeth and also spat out a mouthful of essence blood into the light pillar. Chi. Light suddenly surged from the light pillar after the 7 individuals began an all-out attack. Everyone watched as the enormous body of the purifying demonic lotus flame began to rapidly shrink. Although the heavenly flame continued to emit waves of furious roars, it was unable to stop its shrinking body. Tianluo sealing demon formation. Seal? The chief of the Hall of Souls rejoiced upon seeing the flame's shrinking body. His hand seal hurriedly changed before he finally let out a stern cry. The black light pillar that spanned between the sky and the earth began to shrink after the cry sounded. Within a short instant, it turned into a 10-foot-large circular pillar. A cream-white flame slowly rose within the circular pillar as a frightening temperature quietly spread. Success. Everyone's hearts felt some joy upon seeing this cream-white flame. After having experienced an intense battle between 7 4-star Doshangs, they had finally sealed the purifying demonic lotus flame. Xiao Yan's eyes focused on the blacklight pillar. He swiftly refocused them a moment later, and his eyes swept over the chief of the Hall of Souls. At this moment, everyone in his group was covered in injuries. Their auras were sluggish. The big battle with the purifying demonic lotus flame earlier had exhausted them. A temporary silence appeared in the sky after the purifying demonic lotus flame was sealed. Haha, this cooperation is really a delightful one. The purifying demonic lotus flame has finally been sealed and a disaster that could have befallen the Central Plains has been averted. Thank you very much. The chief of the Hall of Souls recuperated slightly before taking the lead to laugh out loud. He cupped his hands to Ziyan's group. The other people's tight hearts relaxed after seeing him thank everyone. However, everyone had just relaxed when a strange smile flashed across the face of the chief of the Hall of Souls. His hand suddenly grabbed at the black light pillar, and the pillar flew toward him with lightning-like speed. Haha. Thank you everyone for today. My Hun clan will remember everyone's favor. Bastard. He is indeed not a good person. His actions caused everyone to feel startled, but they quickly recovered before furious curses echoed through the air. Himph. How can it be this easy to snatch the demonic flame? An icy cold cry suddenly rang out when the black light pillar was dozens of feet from the chief of the Hall of Souls. The space around the light pillar became distorted as the direction it was headed changed, after which it flew to the left of the chief of the Hall of Soul. The chief of the Hall of Souls became furious after seeing the demonic flame, which had almost reached his hand, fly away. His eyes were dark and cold as he glared at Ziyin, who had intervened. Ziyin was well-versed in spatial strength. Even though she was not in her best condition, she could still distort space and change the direction of the light pillar. The chief of the Hall of Souls might have been furious in his heart, but he did not attack Ziyin at this moment. Instead, he hurriedly turned his head and cried out to Hun Feng and the deputy hall chief. "Why aren't the both of you snatching the demonic flame?"
Attack.
The change had occurred suddenly, but it had not exceeded Xiao Yan's expectations. He had been aware that a conflict would immediately erupt after the temporarily alliance. This rushed unification was the weakest collaboration possible. The hands of friendship from cooperating earlier did not pose even the slightest hindrance in the face of the temptation of the purifying demonic lotus flame. Hence, deep shouts were made the moment the chief of the Hall of Souls yelled out. Xiao Yan's green and red bone wings swiftly appeared. These wings were flapped and Xiao Yan appeared in front of the black light pillar. He extended his hand and grabbed it. "You are seeking death." Xiao Yan's hand had just been extended when a dark and cold voice sounded above his head. This voice belonged to the deputy hall chief, who had been observing the situation. Xiao Yan's heart trembled upon sensing the wind flowing above his head. His hand turned from a claw to a palm as he slammed it into the light pillar, sending it in the direction of Sun Er's group. At the same time, he suddenly pointed a finger toward the sky. Yellow spring finger. An enormous energy finger swiftly formed before it collided head-on with the deputy hall chief. An energy storm spread as the two staggered back. "That is the demonic flame essence. Quickly snatch it." Almost everyone reacted to the situation at this moment. Many fiery hot eyes landed on the dancing black light pillar in the sky. The demonic flame essence had been sealed within it. The strength of whoever managed to obtain it would undoubtedly soar. Swoosh! Numerous pairs of eyes stared at the black light pillar with a fiery heat. Within a short instant, the rushing sound of wind appeared throughout the sky. Almost all the experts who were still alive unleashed their agility skills as they grabbed at the black light pillar. "Ha ha! I have obtained the demonic flame essence." An old high-level band Shang in yellow robes managed to grab the black light pillar with his hands amid this free-for-all, but his loud laugh had barely sounded before 10 sharp palm winds ruthlessly smashed into his body. Half of his body blasted into a bloody fog as a sharp, miserable screech replaced the laughter in the sky. Xiao Yin knit his brows upon seeing this chaotic scene. He waved his hand and 2 jade bottles swiftly flew out. They landed in Ziyan's and Gu Nanhai's hands. "Quick, recover your internal injuries." Xiao Yin cried out to the two of them. Currently, the experts whose strength had crossed the 4th star of the Doshang class were a little weak. Hence, they had not intervened even until now. Whoever was the first to act would undoubtedly be more likely to snatch the demonic flame essence. Ziyin and Gu Nanhai did not utter any unnecessary words after receiving the medicinal pills. They immediately consumed them and recovered their do qi. Of course, they still needed to be wary of their surroundings to avoid a preemptive strike by others. Xiao Yin turned his head to look at the chaotic region. A glow flashed within his eyes as the green-red bone wings on his back were flapped. His speed became many times faster than these ordinary doshangs. Within a couple of flashes, he had charged into the crowd, but the deputy chief of the Hall of Souls swiftly rushed over like a ghost before Xiao Yin could act again. Clearly, the deputy chief was targeting him. "Stop him!" Xiao Yin let out a cold cry after sensing the deputy chief intervene once again. A thought passed through his heart and the fire slave, which he had been subdued temporarily, charged forward without due care for its life. Sun Er, Gu Qingyang, Yao Lao, and the others also attacked together from around the fire slave. In an instant, they got entangled with the advanced 3-star Do Shang deputy hall chief. Swoosh! Xiao Yin flapped both of his wings while the deputy hall chief was stopped. He appeared beside the light pillar and grabbed it, but he discovered that the light pillar did not move when he tried to pull on it. His eyes turned cold as he leaned his head to the side. There was a black-robed young man staring at him with indifferent dark eyes from the other side of the light pillar.
Thing.
Xiao Yan's face slowly became icy upon seeing this person. There has never been someone who has been able to snatch something from my hands. Hun Feng stared at Xiao Yan and spoke with a dense smile. Xiao Yan curled his mouth upon hearing this. He threw his palm over in the process. There will be someone from now on.